There's a certain beauty in silence, isn't there? Not just any silence, but that silence, the kind of silence that follows when someone walks away for the last time. It's heavy, it's haunting, it lingers in the air like cigarette smoke, and you can feel it in your bones, you can taste it in the back of your throat, you can hear it, even though nothing is being said. And that silence doesn't just happen, it builds up. It takes time, years, to even. And when it comes, it cuts deeper than any words ever could, because you know what led to that silence. You know what was said and what was left unsaid. You know why it happened, and you can feel the weight of it in every breath. You take that silence. It's the end. It's final. There's no going back after it. It's not just the end of a conversation. It's the end of an era. It's the end of a chapter in your life. You'll never be able to revisit because you'll never let yourself go back to that place. Not after what happened. Not after they crossed the line. Not after they pushed you too far. Not after they made you feel small and insignificant for the last time, and you finally snapped something inside. You broke, and that silence was born in the moments that followed. You see, sometimes in life, you reach a point where enough is enough. You've taken so much that you've lost count of how many times you've been knocked down and picked yourself up again. You've smiled through the pain. You've told yourself that it's all going to be okay, that things will get better, that they'll change. But deep down, better, you've known for a while, but you kept telling yourself the same lie because you didn't want to face the truth that maybe they're never going to change. Maybe you've been giving more than you've ever gotten, and maybe it's time to stop. Maybe the moment has arrived when you no longer need to tolerate their crap, when you no longer need to accept the abuse, when you no longer need to settle for being treated like you're less than what you are. You've endured enough. You've been patient enough. You've given enough. And now it's your turn now. It's time to take your power back. And it doesn't matter if they didn't see it coming, because the truth is, they didn't know. It was the last time, ever, you would take their bullshit. They never saw the storm coming. They never saw how close they were to pushing you over the edge. They never saw the signs because they were too caught up in their own selfish world to pay attention to the person standing right in front of them. They didn't realize that you'd been pushed and pulled and dragged around for so long that one day you'd stop putting up with it. And when that moment came, when you reached the breaking point, when you finally realized that you deserved more than they were willing to give, that's when the silence hit. That's when you stopped pretending that everything was okay. That's when you stopped letting them disrespect you. That's when you stopped taking their shot for the last time. You remember that moment, don't you? The one where everything changed, the moment when you took a step back, and for the first time in a long time, you saw yourself clearly. You saw the strength inside you. You saw the resilience, the power, the fire that had been waiting to be unleashed. And it was in that moment that you realized you didn't need them. You didn't need their approval. You didn't need their validation. You didn't need their fake love or their empty promises. You didn't need to be their emotional punching bag anymore. You didn't need to be the one who always forgave, the one who always gave in, the one who always kept quiet and let them get away with their behavior. You were done with it. You were done letting them walk all over you. You were done being the one who always took the blame, the one who always caved, the one who always took their bullshit. And what's even more beautiful is that they'll never know when the shift happened. They'll never know when you reached the point where you stopped caring, when you stopped letting them affect you, when you stopped letting their words tear you down. They won't know, because they'll be too busy living in their own little bubble, thinking that they have control over you, thinking that they can continue to walk all over you, thinking that they can keep getting away with it. But the truth is, they're already too late. You've already made the decision. You've already closed that chapter. You've already let go of the past, and no matter how much they try to drag you back into their toxic world, no matter how much they try to gaslight you, or manipulate you, or make you doubt yourself, it won't work, because you know who you are now. You know what you deserve now, and you will never let anyone take that away from you, ever again. It's a powerful feeling, isn't it? To know that you are no longer the victim, to know that you have the power to walk away, to know that you don't have to take their shit anymore. And the beauty of it is that you didn't even have to say a word. You didn't have to make a scene. You didn't have to scream or shout. You didn't have to beg for their attention. You didn't have to plead for their love. You simply walked away in silence. And that silence spoke louder than any words ever could, because they knew deep down that they had lost you forever, and that realization hit them harder than anything you could have said. Because when you finally stop taking their shit, when you finally stand up for yourself, when you finally stop tolerating their toxic behavior, it's not just the end of that relationship, it's the end of everything they thought they had with you. It's the end of their power over you. And they'll never see it coming, because they'll never understand why they lost you. They'll never understand that it wasn't something you said or did. It was just that one day you woke up and realized that you deserved better. And that's when the silence came. That's when you took their bullshit for the last time. And here's the thing, you don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them closure. You don't owe them anything anymore, because you've already given them everything they ever deserved and more. And if they couldn't appreciate it, if they couldn't recognize it, if they couldn't see the value in what you brought to their life, then that's their loss, not yours. And it's a hard lesson to learn, but it's a lesson that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. Because once you realize that you don't need anyone to validate your worth, once you realize that you don't need anyone's approval to be whole, once you realize that your happiness isn't dependent on anyone but you, that's when you unlock a power inside yourself that nothing can take away from you ever again. So the next time they try to come back into your life with their empty apologies, with their fake promises, with their manipulative tactics, don't even blink, don't even flinch. Don't let them see a crack in your armor, because you know what you've been through. You know what they put you through. And you know that you're never going back to that place. You've already made your peace with it. You've already walked away. And now, all you have to do is keep moving forward, because that's what you do now. You don't look back. You don't go back. You don't give second chances to people who didn't know how to appreciate you the first time around. You don't waste your time on people who don't deserve a place in your life. You don't waste your energy on people who can't even recognize your worth. You've learned the hard way that not everyone who comes into your life deserves to stay there, and not everyone who tells you they love you actually does. And sometimes the hardest thing you'll ever do is walk away from someone who never valued you. But it's also the most freeing thing you'll ever do, because once you let go of the people who bring nothing but negativity into your life, once you stop accepting the bullshit, once you stop tolerating the abuse, that's when you make room for the people who truly deserve your time and your energy. The people who will lift you up, the people who will respect you, the people who will love you the way you deserve to be loved. And that's the kind of peace that silence brings. Because when you finally stop allowing the bullshit, when you finally stop letting people take advantage of you, when you finally stop accepting less than what you're worth, that's when you find the freedom to live your life on your own terms. So walk away in silence and let them wonder. Why? Let them wonder when they lost you. Let them wonder what went wrong, because deep down, they already know the truth. They already know that they had their chance, and they blew it. But that's not your problem anymore. That's theirs, and you've moved on. And you'll never look back. You've taken their bullshit for the last time, and now it's your time to shine. You've endured the pain, weathered the storms, carried the weight of others' expectations, and swallowed your pride long enough. You stood there, day in and day out, convincing yourself that things would change, that they would eventually see you, truly see you, for all you've given. But what do you get in return? More disrespect, more neglect, more of the same old bullshit, and you accepted it. For a while, you accepted it because you thought you had no choice. But now you've realized, finally realized, that there is always a choice, that you can decide when enough is enough, and when you do, nothing will be the same. This moment, this decision, doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes you. You step into a version of yourself that you've been hiding from for too long. You've allowed the world to dictate who you are. You've let people who never deserved a second of your time shape your reality. They told you who you should be, how you should act, what you should tolerate. And every time you bent, every time you compromised, a piece of you withered. But you, in your quiet rebellion, you've begun to take that power back. They didn't know it would be the last time you took their shot because you never told them. You never showed them the limit of your endurance. You never painted the line in front of them, hoping they'd respect it. But deep inside, you knew. You knew that the threshold was growing smaller with each passing day. And now that you've crossed it, you're unstoppable. You've stopped waiting for permission to stand up for yourself. You stopped seeking validation from people who don't even know the first thing about you. And the funny thing is, they'll never see it coming. They'll never realize what's happening until it's too late. It's not like they'll wake up one day and magically understand what they've been doing to you. No, they'll be too wrapped up in their own chaos to even notice that the rug has been pulled from under them. You've stopped playing their game, stopped letting them call the shots. You've closed the door on that chapter, and they'll be left scrambling, trying to figure out why the hell you're no longer there. You don't have to explain it to them. You don't owe them that. They never gave you that same courtesy, did they? They never took a second to consider how their words, their actions, their silence hurt you. They never cared to know how it felt to be ignored, to be manipulated, to be left behind with no real explanation. But now, as you walk away, you'll find something they could never give you. Peace. Peace in knowing you've broken free from the chains they tried to keep you in. Peace in knowing you can stand alone, without fear, without guilt, without shame. You've come to understand that your worth is not dependent on anyone but you. Not on the approval of those who treated you like an afterthought. Not on the validation of those who never believed in you. You've started to see the value in your own reflection. You've started to feel the power that's always been within you. The power to decide your own fate, to choose your own path. No one else can dictate that anymore. And when the silence falls, when you've cut the ties and walked away, that silence will speak volumes. It will tell the world that you are no longer a puppet in anyone's play. You are not someone's emotional crutch, someone's backup plan, or someone's last resort. You are everything you need to be, and you don't need their permission to shine. Your worth doesn't need to be acknowledged or validated by anyone. It simply is. There's a fierce freedom in that realization, a freedom that will carry you through the hardest days. Because now, when the storms come, and they will, that's life, you'll be ready. Not because you're immune to the pain, but because you know how to handle it. You know that you are capable of standing tall, even when the world tries to knock you down. You've faced the worst, you've survived the chaos, and you've walked away from the people who were never meant to be a part of your story. That, my friend, is strength, and it's something they'll never understand. They'll never understand how you could let go so easily, how you could just walk away from them without looking back. They won't realize that the person they lost wasn't just someone who was there to take their abuse, to take their disregard, to take their false promises. No, the person they lost was someone who woke up, someone who saw the world for what it was and realized that they deserved better, someone who realized they didn't need anyone else's approval to stand on their own. As they sit there trying to piece together what went wrong, you'll be moving forward. You'll be finding new people who will treat you with the respect you deserve. You'll be building a life where you are the priority, not the afterthought. And when they look back, when they reflect on all that they've lost, they'll be left wondering how they ever thought they could get away with treating you like nothing. But here's the beautiful truth. You won't care, not anymore, because the person who allowed them to treat them that way no longer exists. She's gone. He's gone. That version of you is dead. And in its place is someone who has learned the most valuable lesson of all. You are enough. You are worthy. You are deserving of the love, respect, and attention that you've been so freely giving to others for years. And you no longer have to settle for less. It's funny, isn't it, how we spend so much time chasing after people who don't even care to show up for us. How we beg for their love, their attention, their approval. And in the end, all we get is a cold silence, a withdrawal, a retreat into our own selves, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. But you know what? That silence is a gift. It's a gift that tells you to stop running after people who will never see your worth. It's a gift that says, you are done with this chapter. You are done with these people. And once you've decided to leave that behind, once you've truly decided to cut the ties, something magical happens. You become untouchable. Not because you are impervious to pain, not because you don't have flaws, but because you know your worth. You know that no one will ever be able to take advantage of you again. You know that you have the power to walk away at any moment, to take your life back, and to refuse to accept anything less than what you deserve. They'll never know it was the last time you took their bullshit. They'll never understand that you reached a point where you no longer cared for their excuses, their lies, their manipulation. They'll never see that you grew stronger, that you found yourself in the silence, that you discovered a power that had always been yours. And it's in that silence that you will truly shine, my friend. Not with the loud clamor of others, not with their approval, but in the quiet strength that comes from knowing you are enough all on your own. You don't need them. You never did. You've always had the strength, the power, the courage. And now that you've realized it, there's nothing that can stop you. So let the silence speak. Let it carry the weight of everything they never understood. Let it carry the weight of every tear, every hurt, every moment of doubt. Let that silence be your answer. You don't need to explain. You don't need to beg. You don't need anyone's validation. Your time is now. Your shine is inevitable. And there's no one, absolutely no one, who can take that from you, who can strip away your newfound power, your clarity, your strength. The truth is, no one. Not anymore. They may try. They may come at you with their apologies, their guilt, their promises that they'll change. But you will see through it. You've seen it all before, haven't you? The same old song, the same manipulative tactics, the same lies. They think they can crawl back into your life with a few carefully chosen words, but you're not the same person who would have listened, who would have forgiven, who would have allowed them back in. No, not anymore. The person they lost isn't the person standing in front of them now, and they can never take that power away from you. Because here's the thing, the silence you've created around yourself isn't an absence of noise. It's a shield. It's a force field you've built from the inside out. It's a protection that comes from knowing your worth and refusing to let anyone chip away at it. It's a boundary, one you didn't know how to set until you learned the hard way. And now that it's up, now that it's solid, no one is getting through. Not the same people who hurt you, not the same people who belittled you, not the same people who took advantage of your kindness. You've taken the reins of your own life, and you will no longer hand them over to anyone who doesn't deserve to hold them. In the past, you may have thought that your life was defined by the people around you, by their opinions, by their love, by their expectations. You may have believed that your self-worth was something to be earned, something to be proven to others, but now you know better. You know that your worth is intrinsic, that it exists whether or not anyone else recognizes it. You don't need to be constantly validated by the people around you. You don't need their approval to know that you are enough. In fact, seeking approval from people who never truly valued you in the first place is a waste of your time and energy. You have learned the hard way that the only approval you need is your own. And that's where the real magic happens. When you realize that the only person you need to answer to is yourself, that's when you become unstoppable. That's when you find the freedom to be yourself, to pursue what makes you happy, to live your life without the burden of other people's expectations weighing you down. You can finally stop pretending to be someone you're not. Stop molding yourself into what others think you should be. Stop trying to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You are free to be your true self, to embrace your own desires, your own dreams, and your own potential. You no longer need to seek permission to live your life on your terms. And when you start living that way, when you start making decisions based on what's best for you, people will notice. But here's the thing, they won't understand it. They won't get it. They'll see your strength and they'll try to break you down. They'll call you selfish. They'll accuse you of changing. They'll try to guilt trip you into returning to the version of yourself that was easier for them to control. But it won't matter, because by this point, you'll see them for who they truly are. You'll recognize their manipulation, their insecurity, their desperation to keep you where they want you. And none of that will matter to you anymore. You won't need their approval, because you'll know, deep in your bones, that you are already whole. You'll stop giving power to people who have no respect for you, no appreciation for all that you've given, and no understanding of what you've been through. You'll stop giving energy to people who are incapable of giving you what you deserve. And in that, you'll find a freedom unlike any other. A freedom that comes not from external validation, but from internal peace. You'll finally be able to let go of the people, the situations, and the mindsets that have been holding you back. You'll be able to shed those layers, to strip away the things that have been weighing you down, and to step into your own power. And as you step into that power, something incredible happens. The people who were once able to take advantage of you, the ones who drained you, the ones who made you feel small, they begin to fall away. They can't handle the new you. They can't handle the version of you that no longer accepts their bullshit. They can't handle the fact that you no longer care whether they like you or not. And they'll try to bring you back into their toxic world, to drag you down to their level. But it won't work, not anymore. Because you've made your decision, you've drawn the line, you've chosen to move forward, to evolve, and to leave behind everything that no longer serves you. It's not an easy decision. Walking away from people you once loved, people you once thought you needed, is never easy, but it's necessary. It's necessary because you can't move forward if you're constantly looking over your shoulder, wondering if they'll change, wondering if they'll finally treat you the way you deserve to be treated. You can't heal if you're still stuck in the same toxic cycles, still allowing the same toxic people to have access to your life. You can't build the future you want if you're constantly dragging the past with you. So you make the decision to leave it all behind. You choose to prioritize your peace, your happiness, and your well-being over the false hope that things will change. And let me tell you something. That decision is liberating. It is not weakness. It is not cowardice. It is strength. It is bravery. It is the kind of courage that only comes from understanding your own worth, from recognizing that you don't need anyone else's approval to be whole. It is the kind of courage that comes from finally realizing that you are enough as you are, that you don't have to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. And as you embrace that courage, as you begin to stand taller and walk through life with your head held high, you'll notice something incredible happening. The people who used to drag you down, the ones who used to make you question your worth, they'll start to fade into the background. They'll try to make noise. They'll try to pull you back into their drama, but it won't work, because you won't be there to listen. You won't be there to entertain their lies, their manipulation, their toxicity. You've moved on. You've let go. And the only thing left for you now is your own journey, your own path, your own story. And that journey, that path, will be filled with new opportunities. It will be filled with new people who appreciate you, who value you, who see you for who you truly are. It will be filled with new experiences that will challenge you, that will help you grow, and that will push you to become the best version of yourself. And it will be filled with the kind of peace that only comes when you stop allowing others to dictate your life. So as you move forward, remember this: you are not defined by anyone else's opinion of you. You are not defined by your past mistakes, by your past hurts, by the people who failed to see your worth. You are defined by your ability to rise above, to walk away when necessary, and to keep moving forward, no matter what. And that, my friend, is something no one can ever take away from you. Because once you've truly embraced the power within yourself, once you've truly let go of the people who never deserved a place in your life, no one can ever take that from you. You are free. And that is the most powerful thing you'll ever be. In the end, you are the one who decides your worth. You are the one who gets to choose who stays and who goes, who has access to your energy and who doesn't. You've learned the hard way that true freedom comes from releasing the things and people that no longer serve you and stepping fully into your own power. No one can take that from you. Not their words, not their manipulation, not their empty apologies. Your strength lies in your ability to walk away when needed, to stop tolerating disrespect, and to put yourself first. This is your time to shine, to live on your terms, and to embrace the incredible potential within you. Don't ever let anyone dim your light again.